I can go in an app on my phone and I could scan a 1D barcode and there will be some data that is retrieved in whatever app I'm in. The challenge that you have with that is that data is not coming necessarily directly from the brand. It's coming from a screen scrape. So there's a lack of data integrity, or it's crowdsourced or something like that. If you have the ability to scan a 2D code and then the brand is serving up that information directly, you know where you're getting that information from. From a consumer side, I can scan it on the product and get a whole slew of information, whatever the brand wants to serve up to me. So the brand can control this experience based on my interaction with it.
Hello and welcome to the Next Level Supply Chain with GS1 US, a podcast in which we explore the mind-bending world of global supply chains, covering topics such as automation, innovation, unique identity, and more. I'm your co-host, Reed.
And I'm Liz.
And welcome to the show. Hello, everyone. I hope that you're having a great day. Today, our guest is Gena Morgan. She's the Vice President of Standards at GS1 US. And today we're going to be talking everything 2D barcodes. Well, what is a 2D barcode? Well, the most common one that we see out there today is a QR code, but there are many types of 2D barcodes. And Gena's going to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to talk about how it compares to the 1D or UPC barcode that we're all used to, and why it's important for retailers to start testing in these environments and where the markets are going. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the conversation.
Gena, we are so excited that you're here today. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little about your role in the GS1 US area.
Thank you, Liz. I am excited to be here. I've been wanting to be here for such a long time. I lead the standards team at GS1 US. And what that means is we really drive the adoption and use through showing the application of all of our standards. And so we are core to helping industry and our community engagement initiatives in the value of the adoption of standards.
I refer to you guys as the team with the answers.
We try. We don't always have them. We don't always have the standards, but that's the beauty of it. We do evolve to industry's needs.
We're thrilled that you can spend a couple of minutes with us today for this quick little conversation around barcodes. And we use the technical term 2D barcode. Traditional barcodes, is there even such a thing as a traditional barcode? Like, can you just straighten us all out on 2D barcodes, traditional barcodes, the difference, why we're even talking about it?
How nerdy do you want me to get?
Pretty nerdy.
All right. So the classic barcode, let's talk about the UPCA, just to keep it simple. There's a lot of barcodes out there, to your point. But the UPCA is what we're known for, and it has its 50th anniversary coming up of the first scan in June. And that's what we refer to as a linear barcode, straight up and down. And what that can carry in it is a number. And that's what it does carry in it, that G10. That G10 that allows you to go beep at the checkout. And the way that it does that, it serves that number up to your point of sale price lookup system. And then it goes beep. That linear barcode can carry, especially for the size that it is to fit on the products, it can carry that G10. It can't carry much more though. And so what you need is a barcode that can carry more information in a smaller footprint. And that's what 2D kind of unlocks. So whether it's a QR code, which is a form or a flavor of a 2D barcode, two-dimensional, or a DataMatrix, which is just a little bit a different flavor on a 2D barcode. And the difference in those is really like the squares and sizes of the squares and what it can do and how much data it can carry. Some nuance. But the point is it can carry more data, more than just the G10. It could carry things like a batch or a lot or a serial number or an expiration date. And it can do that in a smaller footprint. So that's the first thing. To be clear, there are linear barcodes that can carry more information, but it starts to grow in its size. There are linear barcodes that do carry more information. They're mostly on cases. The GS1 128, it can carry the G10, plus it can carry a batch and lot, and has an application identifier that says I'm about to see the batch and the lot. So they're there, but they're bigger, right? And so the GS1 128 lends itself to a different use case, general distribution, more than it does a use case for an individual product. That's the value of 2D. You can put more data in it.
Yeah, and I think that COVID's really helped bring out the popularity of 2D with the QR code. Would you say the QR code is probably the most popular 2D barcode? Is that fair to say?
I would say known to
us general people.
Yes.
Yeah, us general people. I think I heard this week in my travels, Is the QR code like 30 years old?
It's old. It has been around a bit. And I've been around, as you know, GS1 a long time. And I would say as recently as 8 years ago, there was a lot of discussion about how the QR code was dead because we were looking at the future of that and the future of 2D long ago, way long ago. But the research that we did was like, don't even go there. The QR is dead and Gen Z will never read it and yet all of those things. And then the pandemic happened and that thing just took on a life of its own. And so here we are. And I would say what's interesting and important to understand about the QR code is it enables not just more information, but in a web resolvable format. So a URL can go in there. And now what's different is your G10 and the batch and the lot and the expiry date, it's put into this structure that we call GS1 Digital Link. That's the standard for how to put the UPC and other data into this web link that can be read by a phone, and it takes you to a website. It resolves to a place. That's really what's exciting about QR codes is that web resolvability and the ability to scan that with a mobile phone or some other application. So it has applicability to an end consumer, but also in a store app and other types of technologies as well.
And that's what I was going to ask you is from a consumer perspective or a business perspective, why should we care about 2D? 1D works for point of sale. Is there a reason we should be leaning into this?
From an end consumer standpoint, yes, I can go in an app on my phone and I could scan a 1D barcode and there will be some data that is retrieved in whatever app I'm in. Let's say some type of fitness app or nutritional tracking type of app. I can scan a barcode in that app in the grocery store and see what are the carbs, what are the calories, what are the Weight Watcher points, whatever that might be served up. The challenge that you have with that is that data is not coming necessarily directly from the brand. It's coming from a screen scrape. So there's a lack of data integrity or it's crowdsourced or something like that. If you have the ability to scan a 2D code and then the brand is serving up that information to you, all of that similar information directly, you know where you're getting that information from. That's one aspect. From a consumer side, I can scan it on the product and get a whole slew of information, whatever the brand wants to serve up to me. He might want to serve up to me coupons or promotions or loyalty games or something like that. So the brand can control this experience based on my interaction with it. Versus the 1D requires an app for there to be value out of that scan.
Interesting. So let's talk about industry. You talked about QR codes and different types of 2D barcodes. How is industry transitioning to this? Or are they transitioning? Or I'll just throw this one. What are the challenges to transition? Because it's just like everything, we see even just at checkout, you have a laser scanner. You have a computer optic scanner. Those are two different types of scanners, and there's some challenges to that. You have some places that still don't scan in. They just skipped right over things. So everybody has a different journey of their technology layout and their different use cases and stuff. But where's the big focus area right now for 2D barcodes when it comes to supply chains?
Yeah, well, I would say industry's really leading from the brand side of things. They want to be able to communicate more directly with their consumer, and which they do today. There's QR codes all over everybody's package. But what moving to GS1 Digital Link and utilizing standards does, it allows them to serve up the ability for it to scan at a retailer and go beep. And it also serves up what they're doing with their QR codes on pack now. So you can imagine that you could free up some real estate. It also allows them to put granular identification in there to meet perhaps some regulatory requirements, because now more than just the UPC, you're putting in the batch lot number or a serial number. If it's an electronic that already has a serialized product or something like that. So from a brand perspective, it's super great because it does more things for me. From a retailer perspective, you can imagine now I've got more information. I can possibly leverage my app that I still want to drive my consumer to and do the same things the brand can, serve up targeted promotions and whatnot. But also I could do things like stop a recalled product from accidentally leaving because I've got that product identified at a batch lot number. I can prevent that. I could do more targeted recalls because I'm scanning and I can pinpoint the lot and what I've got in my store and scan those to ensure they're part of a recall or not. versus today just going and grabbing it all and pulling it off, or an expired product. I can prevent disappointing my customer because I let them leave with a product that should have been pulled from the shelf. And that's all due to the fact that you can identify something at a more granular level because the barcode supports it. So those are the values that come from 2D. Where are we in that transition? I would say the technology is there with the scanner manufacturers to start to implement that. And it's really important that some of the requirements that we have for 2027 and moving to that date are to just, they happen at the hardware level, extract the G10 from a 2D code and go beep like it does today. If you want to do some more of those advanced use cases, that's kind of further, and that's up to a retailer and what their POS capabilities are. And they certainly are looking at that because, to Liz, your point, POS works today. It's really not about today. It is about looking towards how to make that connection to those more advanced use cases. Reed, to your point on laser versus optical scanners, it requires optical scanners. True. Our research has shown that it's 85 to 90% of retailers out there already have optical scanners. They've been around a long time. And so the move is going in that direction. And now we just need to ensure it has all the right firmware to do what we need it to do for 2D adoption.
A lot of packaging I see today has both on it. You got your UPC, and then it has a QR code, and they're used for complete use. What you're saying is consolidate, put them both together and move forward. But we need to inform the industry that this is capable. Stop wasting the space, use them both together. But we also need the retailers to make some investments on their side too, because I know that scan rates, we're nerding out here. Scan rates is a big thing. Is a laser scanner better than an optical scanner? And a lot of times I think the general public, we go to the grocery store and we check out and I'm like, this thing has, I don't know, 4 or 5 barcodes on it sometimes. And I'm like, I don't know which one it got, and they're coming from different angles, and it's quick and easy. And you're saying that that's the inflection point we're at right now, is we need to keep this testing and moving through, but we need people to lean in and do it with us.
Yeah, agreed. There are different ways in which that's implemented. There are all those barcodes today. That scanner's not turned on to recognize them all, Reed.
Right.
So,
we don't know that as the regular.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I had a question about the complexity of it, because we work with this kind of every day. And Gena, you're in the guts of this transition, but how do people start getting into it? You know, you talked about the hardware, but if I'm a brand and I want to start changing my barcode and I hear the term digital link, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what that is. How does somebody get started with it? Who should they talk to?
Hey, that's a great idea. Us, number one, we are always there to support brands. And we have a number of advocates that are brands who have already gone through this and have some product in market that can share what it takes. But at the root of it, you're really looking at your packaging team and then your printing lines. And it just depends on where you are in that brand sector. If you're a center store supplier, fast, stuff's moving through those lines at lightning speed, then your entry point and what you can do will be very different if you're talking about a barcode that's on a perimeter of a store that's really more slower line speeds and you can capture more information. But sticking with that, let's talk about a center store, fast-moving consumer good. You likely will get started by using a GS1 digital link with just a G10, maybe a product variant, because anytime you add more data to it and more specific data, that barcode is unique, right? The more granular you get, the more unique that barcode is. So Liz, for example, let's just say you want to put a serial number on there.
Yeah.
That barcode is unique for every instance of that product. That's probably not practical today for fast-moving consumer good items, but that doesn't mean don't get started, because there's a tremendous amount of value in encoding your G10 into a 2D code to have that consumer experience and the point of sale smashed together at once. Coming back to your question, I would say that we have a lot of resources for brands on how to get started and what to consider, and roadmaps and toolkits that we can make available.
If somebody wanted to test this, they've seen the resources, obviously you have a lot of passion around it. Are there pilots? Is there testing? Can you help people get started and look at their own processes and work through that, test it, pilot it, find the gaps?
To be honest with you, we have seen a lot of implementations that we didn't touch, which was great because that means we're putting the right information and toolkits out there. We actually want to be a part of that so that we can continue to learn what the industry journey looks like to refine that for the long tail organizations. But yes, we will pilot with you.
This has been really enlightening. And I think that the purpose of today's call is really just to kind of entice people to kind of lean in a little bit, because there's so much more to peel back here. But in all sincerity, this is very exciting. I mean, 2D has been around for 30 years, but used in different capacities. It ebbs and flows with what you shared is like, hey, it was kind of dying out there for a little bit, and then it got a reinsurgence, and it comes into that like trending. And we were ahead of the game with, hey, we were working on this to leverage other data carriers and still put the GTIN number in it, and you can still use it for everything you want. So it sounds like a win-win-win.
It's a powerful tool for folks to use for managing their supply chains beyond what the barcode was invented for, which is to speed up checkout, right? And we've learned even that humble barcode from 50 years ago has grown to support inventory management to a degree.
Right.
This will do it better. It will do it faster. It will do a number of different things. So, the other thing from the pandemic that we learned was supply chains can get clogged up if you don't have the right information. We want those products to give you the right information and the right identification to do that.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Next Level Supply Chain with GS1 US. If you enjoyed today's show, please subscribe to our feed and explore more great episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to share and follow us on social media. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.